Oh, hello, my baby gorilla. Hello, my baby gorillas, and welcome. I don't know if this is sound, so let me find out what you guys are saying about the sound. Hello, Marion. How are you doing, guys? Good to see you all. I don't know. Let me know if what the sound is like. Tomorrow we're getting a better microphone, so we'll find out by tomorrow if I've fixed this problem with the sound. I don't know if it's this mic or if there's other issues. What's my sound like, guys? Let me try and check. Let me check and find out. If it's better, I'll just use the other thing and wait till the mic comes tomorrow. That mic should make a hell of a difference. Everything else on it seems to be working. I think this mic just might not be very good. Let me see what's happening. Let me check and find out. If it's better, I'll just use the other thing. I'll wait till the mic comes tomorrow. That mic should make a hell of a difference. Everything else on it seems to be working. Let me just turn that down. Is that better? I think this mic just might not be very good. Let me see what's happening. Any sort of rustling against it? Let me check and find out. If it's better, I'll just use the other thing. I'll wait till the mic comes tomorrow. Not bad, is it? That mic should make a hell of a difference. Everything else on it seems to be working. Let me just turn that down. Is that better? I think this mic just might not be very good. Let me see what's happening. Any sort of rustling against it? Let me check and find out. If it's better, I'll just use the other thing. I'll wait till the mic comes tomorrow. Not bad, is it? That mic should make a hell of a difference. Everything. So let's just stick with that. Let me know if it's too much or if it's too little. By tomorrow, we should have it fixed. The sound fixed. I've spent an absolute fortune on the sound being fixed, and hopefully by tomorrow, well, that'll be it. That's all of the things that I required to do to get done. New leads, a sound lifter connected to the Rodecaster Pro. The whole thing is absolutely tip top for you guys. The only thing is this is a cheap mic, although it looks fantastic. It looks absolutely great. And I've got a new mic, similar but new mic coming that's probably of better quality. So hopefully by tomorrow, if this is not a very good podcast, by tomorrow we should have it all tickety-boo. And I don't want to say was I right, but was I right again? Oh my goodness, what's going on? Oh, that's good, we're all coming in. Hi guys, how are you all? Good to see you all. Let's see what's happening here. There's the thingy there that I was looking for. Start again. Start again. Is it still bad, Teresa? Start again. We've not done anything so far. Hi guys, hi Bernadette, hi Teresa. Hi Marion, how you doing? John, how you doing, boy? Michael. All here, all Adolf, all my crews here. I'm hot news. Have we got today? Some great news that I had already predicted. Oh God, honestly. I swear, I tell you things before it happens, and then it happens, like magic. Well, the great man, Mr. Markus Meechan, his name is Meechan, Markus Meechan, or Mark Meechan, aka Count Dankula. What a fantastic guy he is. He's a really lovely guy. Getting beast smart, just like me, getting sabotaged in the papers, calling him a Nazi thug, pug thug. Markus is a lovely fellow, really nice guy. He's doing, him and his wife, they've just had a baby, is doing this podcast. His wife's like the Scottish version of Delia Smith. She's doing some absolutely great stuff on that with him. And they've just had a wee baby girl, and oh, it's lovely, absolutely lovely. Turn up a bit. Turn them up, like Dankula. Is that better? Is that better? Let me know when I've got it. Hopefully by tomorrow the new mic's going to be here, and the whole system should be absolutely rocking. New leads, cloud lifter. Hopefully it's going through. It sounds good on the headphones now for a change. It seems to be hitting just the right spot on the level. And by tomorrow we'll get the new mic, which will be quite interesting. So here we go. So all the papers will be out in arms tomorrow. You get all the Nazi pug and all sorts of nonsense about him. Let me tell you, Markus is a lovely guy. He's very funny, and he's a comedian as well. He's probably the second best comedian behind Kevin Bridges in Scotland just now, I would say. His stand-up gigs are amazing. And he's just absolutely brilliant. You should look out for his stand-up comedy as well. Brilliant. His Bad Lad series, absolutely fantastic. Lovely, lovely fella. And he's just been slandered like everybody else in the papers. They just like to make bad words up about people and just be really nasty. Whereas Markus is great. And he's very entrepreneurial. He's just and he wants people to have freedom of speech and individual liberty. And he's just an all-round good egg. Unfortunately, you can't say that about the Daily Record these days. Nazi pug thug who taught girlfriend's pet salute to stand at Scottish Parliament election. Markus Meechan was fined £800 for recording his pug Buddha raising his paw in response to statements such as gas the Jews and Ezekiel. Now this was a comedy sketch, a bit like Fawlty Towers would have been back in the day, making fun of National Socialists. And let's not forget, National Socialists are socialists. There's a guy, we're successfully recorrected. Oh my goodness, that's not what I was wanting to see. What are you guys saying? David, sounds okay now. Fantastic, Bernadette. Absolutely great. It's going to get better. By tomorrow, we'll have the new mic and the sound should be even better by tomorrow. So obviously, thanks to your help, we've actually now got it to almost like a sweet spot, and we'll get it even better with this new mic tomorrow. Oh, where did you guys go? So he was 10 seconds... has a 10 seconds clip that is him shouting away from my shit in the cow shed. It's hilarious. King Dankula is Sivna, not my team, too left wing for me. No, he's a libertarian liberal. I think Count Dankula is not left wing. He used to be a communist and he grew up, but he's done a political compass test, which shows him not far. He's actually very similar to me and what's his name? His friend as well, Cargon of Akkad, Carol Benjamin. We're all classical liberals, or I like to call it libertarian liberalists, but that's where we are. But he's joined the Scottish Libertarian Party, and the Libertarian Party would be to the right of the Libertarian Liberalists, which would be more of a centrist political party if it was existing. And the Libertarians are slightly to the right. They're free enterprise. They'll get us all back to work out of this coronavirus. We'll get our freedoms back if you vote for them. So it's up to you. So he's on the libertarian right, not the authoritarian right. So that's slightly different. And let's not forget, this guy Tick. This guy's analysis, I think, is even better than Carol Benjamin's. This guy Tick is just absolutely brilliant. National Socialism. So if you want to find out about this guy to me is absolutely first rate.
What is National Socialism? National Socialism. National Communism. Whoa, wait a second, what?
So the Nazbols were national Bolsheviks, which were basically national communists. So the people who killed the people in New Zealand might have been Nazbol, or the guy who killed the people in New Zealand might have been a Nazbol. And Andrus Brevid might have been a Nazbol as well, which is a national Bolshevik.
Yeah, let me explain. According to Marxists, modern society is capitalist and communism is the goal. Socialism is what happens on the way to communism.
So I'll leave you that there. But National Socialism is part of the... But this guy, I would say he's even better than Carol for his political analysis. And Carol's analysis is A++. Carol Benjamin. So he's a great political analyst, but this guy goes into depth with regards to National Socialism. He also talks about that Hitler was a socialist. Tick. So this one here. This one here is 4 hours long, and the depth it goes into about National Socialism is unbelievable.
The Project Management Institute expects 22...
As libertarians, we are obviously opposed to any sort of authoritarianism, even National Socialism. So, but this guy's political analysis, I don't know this boy's name yet, but his political analysis is professorship and absolutely A++.
Million new project management...
I have not set myself on the road of politics in order to pave the way for an international socialism. I bring the German people a national socialism, the political theory of the national community, the feeling of unity for all who belong to the German nation and who are prepared and willing to feel themselves as being an inseparable but also co-responsible particle of the totality of the nation. I would be more than happy to go back to believing that Hitler was a capitalist. I really would. Considering the backlash I've received so far, with people calling for me to neck myself, kill myself, and calling me pathetic for holding this supposedly dishonest opinion, it would be far easier for me to give in to the social pressure and just pretend that Hitler was a capitalist. It would be far easier if someone actually managed to make a convincing case, which stands up to scrutiny, that Hitler was really a capitalist, so that I could go back to believing it and sweep all this under the rug. Unfortunately, nobody has done that so far. And worse, I don't care for social pressure. I'm not here for the social points. What matters to me...
I think this guy's a brilliant political analyst. Brilliant, 10 out of 10. He goes into immense depth. Carol goes into immense depth as well, and a lot of things as well. But this to me is even deeper from a political analyst point of view, and he does it brilliantly on this. So if you don't really understand politics, because somebody just the other day was saying that like National Socialism and fascism were far right, but in fact what they are is actually on the authoritarian left, and he explains it in perfect depth here why National Socialism and fascism is authoritarian left ideology, not in the centre or on the right.
It's the historical truth. So I'm only going to be persuaded by strong arguments, not by poor ones. And the terrible arguments presented so far by various Marxist socialists, consisting of a poor contradictory interpretation of limited sources, bundled into a distorted perception of the events, coupled with insults and an overall mockery of the concept of free speech, leaves me unconvinced. It's
I
not
think the guy that's narrating this might be just a liberal or a conservative. I don't know what he is, but I don't think he's on the authoritarian left. I think he might have started, like Markus, on the left and is now a liberal or free speech advocate. He doesn't seem to be a National Socialist himself and promoting National Socialism.
Because I'm mentally ill, as some have claimed. It's because the National Socialism argument is superior to the National Socialism is capital.
So nationalism is not it may be left or right within each of the four parts of the political compass, but nationalism can be on the authoritarian left, the authoritarian right, the libertarian left and the libertarian right. So it's not a left or right thing, nationalism, or subsets of that would be ethno-nationalism and racism, which is obviously what came out of National Socialist Germany, and what's obviously coming out of the Frankfurt School, this anti-white racism that's coming out of this, the new ideas from the Frankfurt School and the critical race theory. These are all race-based theories, such as National Socialism is a race-based theory as well.
Argument. But many aren't convinced, mainly because I've not even had a chance to fully explain myself yet. I haven't had time to present all the evidence, and when I do present evidence, most of my critics don't actually watch the videos anyway. They watch 2 minutes, decide that I haven't provided enough evidence in 2 minutes, and proceed to mock me. This is why any video on this topic immediately comes under attack by mobs of social justice fascists who do not care for discussion nor the truth, only belief in infallible socialism. Slander attacks have been brought against me from various different areas of the internet. Worse, people have said that because I didn't reply to these accusers, I was therefore refuted. No, that's not how this works. Just because I don't respond for a while does not mean I've been refuted. If I had been refuted, then I would happily make a video admitting I'm wrong, which I have done before for other topics and have no problem doing so again. But that hasn't happened here. Currently, I maintain the position that the National Socialism of the Hitler era was real National Socialism, which was socialist in creed and was not a variety of capitalism. In this video, I will
capitalism or Marxism. It may have came out of Marxism, because obviously Marxism is also anti-Semitic, a bit like Islam. So Islam, Marxism, National Socialism are all very much anti-Semitic.
Onto the various points that numerous Marxist socialists and others have made against this argument, in the hope that some of these people will actually listen to me and actually try to understand what I'm saying. Even if you do not agree with what I'm about to say, there's no reason to call me names, slander me, jump to false conclusions, or send me death threats. The point of history is to have a debate. At the very least, by taking this position, I am providing you and others the opportunity to debate with me. If I'm wrong, you should have no trouble addressing all the points I'm about to make.
I could have done this. I've already briefly touched on this, not to the depth of this gentleman who's done it. I could have done this, but I was a bit too lazy, to be brutally honest, doing it in this sort of depth. But this guy has covered National Socialism perfectly, and his understanding is perfect. That this is a National Socialism is an ideologically left-wing ideology.
If I'm wrong. And since there was some confusion over some of the phrases I was using in previous videos, I'm going to try my best to keep the language as simple as possible this time around and explain things more clearly. If you don't understand what I'm saying, do not assume I'm wrong, get confused and mock me for being wrong even though I'm not. Ask me to clarify my points instead, or seek answers from those who do understand what I'm saying in the comments below. Either way, whether you end up agreeing, disagreeing, or hating me, I just hope you will find this video useful, since I will be presenting a lot of historical facts and evidence during the process, which may come as a surprise to many of you. Thank you.
I'm not going to take much more of this.
In a nutshell, my argument is that National Socialism was real National Socialism, and that it was a left-wing socialist ideology which attempted to implement socialism during its brief 12 years in power.
Which is correct. That's the correct analysis. But we've been sold that National Socialism was far right, when it was actually far left, and not as far left as communism, but on the authoritarian left, as was fascism.
Hitler hated both what he called Jewish capitalism and Jewish Bolshevism or Marxism. He saw them both as part of a Jewish plot to take over the world.
Very much anti-Semitic, a bit like Islam, a bit like Islam, National Socialism, Marxism, all very much anti-Semitic. The ironical thing with Marxism is that obviously Karl Marx came from a Jewish lineage. He actually came from apparently a whole line of rabbis. So that is quite interesting. Do you mean unconditional, Andy? What's unbreed? But I hope you unbred guys carry on the true fight without being distracted by pure crap. Pure crap. Yeah. Authoritarian is left, yeah. Well, no, you get the authoritarian right and left, John. But certainly this is on the authoritarian National Socialism on it. He was a socialist, yeah. The fascist is quite an Italian thing, yeah. I think he's going to cover this, that National Socialism and fascism are two separate things. You might be too left-wing for him. I'll come back to Count Dankula in a second, but this guy is just really... I really wanted to give this guy some airtime because his political analysis is brilliant.
His anti-Semitism is his anti-capitalism, and his anti-Semitism is his anti-Marxism, and his pro-German racism is his socialism. He thought that the Jews were causing what many perceived to be the crisis of capitalism in order to cause class conflict, which would then be exploited by the Jews, who would usher in a Marxist revolution. At that point, they would dominate the world and, in Hitler's mind, be the downfall of civilization. And it's vital that you understand what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that I believe in what Hitler is saying from a personal, political, economic, or social perspective.
Yeah, and me too. I'd just like to put that I don't... I'm a libertarian liberal, so I don't hold to National Socialism either, not being a socialist.
Far from it. I am not...
Or fascism or Marxism for that matter, all of whom are authoritarians.
A National Socialist.
I mean a libertarian liberal and a libertarian centrist. That is not for me.
A fascist nor a Marxist, etc. By explaining Hitler's reasoning or Stalin's reasoning or Mussolini's reasoning, etc., that does not mean I'm embracing these ideologies.
Yeah, I mean, this guy should be seen as a political commentator, a bit like myself, a political commentator. Doesn't mean... I've already told you my political ideas and where I stand on the political spectrum. The fact that people are able to comment previously doesn't mean you support them. I mean, I heard that they were talking about me with speaking to Tommy Robinson. I don't know Tommy Robinson. I've met Tommy Robinson twice. Once at the Count Dankula trial and once at the Count Dankula trial and once at being down in London when he was being persecuted for highlighting rape gangs of children by Muslims, and he was arrested and illegally detained and illegally sentenced. So the Guerilla TV channel are here to help people who are being persecuted by the state. That's one of the things we do. Doesn't matter who you are. You could even be Muslim yourself. If you're getting persecuted and we know it's a legitimate cause, then we go and help. Same reason we went to help Count Dankula. Same reason we mentioned Craig Murray. So all these people are being persecuted by the state. That is the raison d'etre of this channel. The fact that I talk to somebody doesn't mean I support them. And we will literally talk to anybody.
Me explaining the history of war does not mean I'm pro-war. My goal here is to explain... It just shows
you how pathetic the left are, trying to actually, without just being able to talk about something, they're trying to implicate that you actually support it, rather than you actually just having a position on it. I mean, it's pathetic.
Why the Holocaust happened, and expose the ideology that brought it about, and educate people about the nature of that ideology so that we do not have a repeat of the massacres which totalitarian ideologies have inflicted upon innocent people caught in the grips of their claws. I'm also not saying that National Socialism was Marxism. Marxism is but one version of socialism, and there are many versions of socialism. Marxism is not the core concept of socialism. In fact, the idea of socialism predates Marxism. As I will show later, socialism is state control of the economy. Marxism is a class version of this state control of the economy. Marx said that the utopian socialists that came before him...
And don't forget, postmodernism is a racist ideology. It's to destroy the liberal democracy, freedom of speech. They've infected our institutions. They're using critical race theory. And that's just another version of socialism. Because the Frankfurt School knew that all these people had been murdered through Marxism, they had to change it. Critical theory came in, and to undermine liberal free speech democracies, This is what they've actually done, and this is how we've implemented it. That's why the Conservative Party are now a GIMP party and not actually conserving the British way of life. They've actually abandoned that. And they've just actually basically conserving the road towards some sort of Marxism in the UK.
Him were unscientific and therefore not real socialists like he was, and so he created a class theory of history and an ideology based on class socialism. Then Hitler came along and said Marx was not a real socialist either, calling him unscientific, and embraced a racial theory of history and an ideology based on race socialism. So I'm saying National Socialism was socialism. I'm not saying it was Marxism. It was also not a version of capitalism because Hitler hated capitalism, which he saw as a Jewish concept. His anti-Semitism was his anti-capitalism, and his anti-Marxism was because he thought Marxism was also a Jewish concept. So he didn't like Marxism or capitalism, and embraced a variant of socialism which was, supposedly, somewhere between the two. This was known as the National Socialist Third Way. I also argue that fascism was a version of socialism based on nationality rather than race.
Brilliant, absolutely spot on. Brilliant political analysis there. And National Socialism and fascism are not the same political ideology, variants of socialism.
And make the case that National Socialism was not fascism. They are similar.
See, this is what the left didn't want to acknowledge, that you get the left that are racist, and it's the left that actually brought National Socialism in, and it's the left that have now brought this critical anti-white racist critical race theory in. So it's the left that have done it.
In that they both embrace socialism on a national level, and that the fascists also paint them.
Unbred, do you mean unconditional, Andy?
Themselves as somewhere between capitalism and Marxism in a fascist third way, but they are different because Mussolini and other fascists didn't believe in the racial theory of history and don't base their ideology on race. The National Socialists, on the other hand, base their ideology on the race rather than the nationality.
So this channel's in the liberty.
The race is the nation.
We believe in liberty and liberal democracies. That's where we are on the political compass, just for anybody who wants to know.
Is the race. Racism is fundamental to National Socialist ideology and is not fundamental to fascism, although some fascists are racists, just like some Marxists are racist as well, Stalin as an example. In fact, Hitler hated Italian fascism and despised Franco's fascism, something many historians seem to ignore. There's a bit more to it than that, obviously, but in a nutshell, that's the premise of my argument.
I'm just going to leave it there. You should definitely go and watch this if you've not seen it. It's absolutely brilliant. He's absolutely spot on, this fella. So let's see what my baby gorillas are saying here. Let's get this up. Andrew Dewar Gibb, who became the second chairman of the party in 1934, has frequently quoted Hitler in public speeches. Has he, mate? Yeah, has he? Yes, that's true. So let's go. So this is, I just brought that in, but definitely watch brilliant political analysis. Excellent. I would have done that in this channel had I could have been bothered to go into such depth, but he goes into minutiae of, and he's correct in everything I saw so far. I've not gone through the 4.5 hours of what he said, but you should definitely spend time so that you actually be able to debate and understand what the actual underlying theories were and political theories if you're into political science. So let's go back. So this is, I just brought this in for the Nazi thug. Now, Markus was making fun of National Socialism. He wasn't supporting it, and yet he was still lambasted in the papers. For the SNP had to go to the Jewish community because nobody was bothering about it until SNP thought police went to the Jewish community I know people in the Jewish community that are good fun in Glasgow, great bunch, and had to bring the leader of the Jewish community, I don't know if they voted for him or not, who is the SNP's go-to guy, and he complained. Now, to be fair to him, I don't think he would have complained had he not, the SNP, not been wanting to thought police Marcus, a bit like the things they did with, the disgusting things they did with Alex Salmond and setting Alex Salmond up. So, this is what they've done. Nazi pug thug thought girlfriend's pet salute to stand at Scottish elections. Markus Meechan was fined £800 for recording his pug Buddha, raising his paw in response to statements such as "gas the Jews" and "Zeke Hill." This is by Chris McCall. So I would definitely go out and vote for Markus just now. If I was living in Motherwell and Wishaw, I would definitely be motivated to vote for Markus. Markus is now an international star. He speaks to people all over the world, and he's really thought highly of. It's just incredible. He's got hundreds of thousands of people on his Bad Lads channel, and just a really terrific guy, really lovely fella. The popes picked. So one of these popes, it was Hitler Youth. Yeah. So here we go. A Scot taught his girlfriend's dog to raise its paw in a Nazi salute as to stand for election to the Scottish Parliament. Markus Meechan was fined £800 for recording his pug Buddha raising its paw in response to statements such as "gas the Jews" and "Zeke Hill." He was found guilty in 2018 of posting material that was grossly offensive. I mean, really, the fact that we've got laws that for people not to be offended is just pathetic and anti-Semitic in nature. I don't know how it was anti-Semitic. It was mocking National Socialism. I find it very difficult to see how it was anti-Semitic in nature. You had to do some real mental gymnastics to actually think it was anti-Semitic, and I don't think it was even found anti-Semitic in the Jewish community. Mr. Badil came out and very rightly so said it was obviously just a joke and it was for joking. He's a great comedian as well. And an offence aggravated by police prejudice. And an offence aggravated by religious prejudice. So now he can't be prejudiced against religion now. So you can't be offended if you can't be prejudiced against the religion. Oh my goodness, the SNP thought police. Don't vote for the SNP if you don't want to get thought policed. That's why Markus just joined the Scottish Libertarian Party, because they believe in individual freedoms, liberty for the individual. They'll probably get rid of us being held hostage in our own homes. They will actually change things. Or are you quite happy to be captured in your own house, not be able to congregate, not be able to see anybody you care about, and we'll all just stick in our own houses like a bunch of cellmates for the rest of our life? I think we should be definitely voting for Markus and the Scottish Libertarian Party. I think they will definitely make a difference. Meechan will contest Motherwell and Wishaw constituency. I've got a lot of friends up there. Definitely vote for Markus when he comes up, which is currently held by Claire Adamson of the SNP with a majority of 6,000. I don't know if he's standing in the regional list. He must be standing first past the post. That would be incredible if he got 6,000 votes and he lost. Definitely vote Dankula. I hope he's on the regional list as well. I don't know I haven't seen the list for. We'll look at that in a minute. I haven't seen the list for the Scottish Libertarian Party. A video blogger who posts under the name Dankula to his hundreds of thousands of followers on YouTube is standing for little known Scottish Libertarian Party, which you guys already know that I helped establish. I didn't set it up. It had already a website, it was already a political party, it already had a logo, but it wasn't standing any candidates. So I got my friend to stand as the first candidate. I was going to be the first person along with my friend, but because of the fact that I didn't have any council tax, or not on the voters registration list, I was unable to stand with my friend, and my friend was the first person to stand. He get 12 votes. That was the start of the Scottish Libertarian Party. But now it's going to get massive. It's going to get thousands of votes this time on the regional list. So absolutely thousands of votes. So that'll be quite exciting for them. What's my baby Guerilla saying? Vote for Ming or die. That's it. Vote for King Ming. Little known Scottish Libertarian Party. Well, I guess it's better than the Labour Party that's going down the toilets. I saw that Sawa is actually going down, lost 3% and going down in the polls. So I prefer little known to going down the toilet. The Scottish Libertarian website claims we all know that government is cancer. Yep. But it will go away by ignoring it, which it won't. If our people are not there throwing a spanner in the works, then it will continue to tax and make illiberal legislation that will force you to comply with, which is already doing just now. We've already seen that. The Record asked Meechan, this is brilliant, he's so funny. The Record asked Meechan if he would confirm he was standing in the Motherwell and Wishaw constituency. He replied, "It's just some extremely handsome guy with the same name as me." Oh dear, that was too funny. So, what else is he saying? Asked why voters should back him in May, he said, "I think everyone deserves freedom of speech, individual liberty and autonomy over their own bodies and lives. The current Scottish Government is not delivering that." Yeah, that's true. But actively trying to prevent it, because protecting their own power matters more to them than human rights of the people they are supposed to serve. Oh, he's just brilliant, isn't he? Oh, that's excellent. Meechan previously stood for UKIP at the 2019 European elections, where he was named fourth on the Scotland-wide list. The anti-EU movement did not return any MEPs after winning 1.9% of the vote. Controversial social media figure said last night that he raised more than 193,000 through a crowdfunding page to pay for legal fees. So he actually then challenged his conviction for us so that we would not be convicted again, and yet the SNP authoritarians decided to not allow him to overturn the fact that he was found £800 for grossly offending somebody. What is an absolute joke at the SNP are, to fund appeals against his wrongful conviction, which should be admonished. Any political party worth their salt would admonish Count Dankula's conviction, would admonish it. In a video on his YouTube channel, he said his legal challenge so far has cost £140,000, and the latest bid to have his case heard on the European Justice Court, heard in the Strasbourg court, would cost another £50,000. He set up a poll for his donors to vote on whether he should press ahead with the legal route or donate the remaining money to a children's hospital. More than 75,000 people took part in the vote, with more than 95% in favour of him continuing his appeal. So basically what the courts are doing are overturning the right of freedom of speech. So let me go this. So let's jump over to Wee Nippy. I know you guys are absolutely choking to be told about Wee Nippy. Hold on. Let's get rid of that. There's the Liberalists. That's great. Good bunch there. So this is in the Daily Express by Paul Baldwin. Nicola Sturgeon is on the ropes for the first time, and she does not like it. Paul Baldwin, no. Tory Douglas Ross. So when was this written? 9 hours ago. Tory Douglas Ross, well, obviously this is a Conservative paper. Lost more British Bulldog than Highland Terrier, but a dog with a bone nonetheless. Just would not give her a break on her obsession with the second referendum, and she did not like it one bit because something has happened, and Nicola knows it. Indie Ref 2, the platform Nicola has staked her entire career, indeed political life on, has become a vote loser, not a vote winner north of the border. And for once, she has not come here to talk about Scottish independence. It was incredible. I mean, if she's talking, they should have moved her on to domestic policies because she would have been smashed all over the place on them. It was incredible telling. It was incredibly telling. Her shift and less than convincing appearance at the recent Holyrood probe into Alex Salmond affair. The fact she wasted £500,000 on a doomed witch hunt and a bizarre return of Mr. Salmond to queer the SNP's pitch has shifted the political tectonic plates in Scotland. Now, let's go on to the Guerilla TV channel. So, everybody seems to be leaving the Scottish National Party and actually moving to the Alba Party. Everybody seems to be actually shifting. I couldn't believe how many people are actually moving. There's been moves in the Scottish Labour Party seem to have fallen another percentage point down to 15. They seem to be in free fall. The Greens seem to be down more than 2 points. The UK Reform Party seem to be up 2% to 4 points, and the Scottish Libertarian Party seem to be making it onto the list on 2 plus another 2% up on 2%. So that's the first time that the Scottish Libertarian Party are going to be actually seen in the Scottish election poll, which is quite incredible. But they all seem to be leaving everybody seems to be leaving it.
When he was one of the
councillors,
I was born
MPs.
Married a Scot and came to Scotland some 40 years ago when he was one of the exiled Scots lucky enough to return to Scotland on the back of the oil. Now, I was a local government officer with the Greater London Council, latterly as a project manager, leading their building sites programme with the aim of producing 22,000 dwelling starts a year. I was a Labour Party activist and a trade union rep, active in the 70s when the Labour Party undertook a tremendous programme of liberalisation, equal pay, domestic abuse, divorce, decriminalisation of homosexuality. And I spoke at the white-collar TUC on the equal pay bill. I didn't think it went far enough. I was 13 years in Scotland before I became convinced that for Scotland to retain the things about it that I valued, it would need to become independent and follow its own culture and ways, and in particular, I think, its community spirit. I was also influenced by my knowledge gained by trying to produce housing sites on time and under budget, of how dysfunctional the British system of government was. I was a foot soldier activist locally, but then became...
it's a bit boring this, but get the message, but there's tons of them. The longest serving councillor.
Hello, I'm Councillor Brian Topping.
He's
I've
left
served
the
as a
SNP.
representative for Fraserburgh for 37 years.
I think everybody knows in the SNP that Nicola Sturgeon actually set up Alex Salmond, and that's why they're all leaving.
I'm a lifelong campaigner for Scottish independence. I'm joining Alba Party for its final push to realise my lifelong dream of a better country. I know as a campaigner here in the North East that SNP votes 1 and 2 didn't work. In 2016, no one was returned in the North East. SNP polled 137,000 votes and no MSP returned on the list. Meanwhile, 85,000 votes saw 4 Tory MSPs elected. Nationally, 1 million votes saw only 4 list SNP MPs returned. Currently, polls predict that not even one would be re-elected this time round. To deliver the better and fairer nation that we know Scotland can be, we would need every vote to count, and we need a supermajority for independence delivered by the list. Only list vote Alba can deliver that. That's why I'm joining Alba, voting for the Party of Independence in the constituency and voting Alba on.
So even, yeah, that's very interesting. Now this guy's the longest serving SNP councillor, I believe. So there's the field there. Past the sell-by date. This is an interesting one. White people must keep quiet on racism. And there's David Curtin, who I would definitely vote for if I was in London for the mayor. He seems like a really smashing guy. He seems to know his politics very well as well. Lovely fellow. Here's Humza Useless. So Murdo Fraser said they're going to repeal the hate crime bill, which they should have. I think one of the Tories, Mr. Tompkin, voted for it. Don't know why. Absolutely disgusting legislation. Here we go.
Passed in the first place. There's been so many people against it from the get-go, but the SNP just railroaded it through. Yeah, completely repeal it, and let's look at how we make good legislation in the Scottish Parliament. It's the worst piece of legislation that's came forward to the Scottish Parliament. That's what we need to do. We need to have a proper conversation and listen to the concerns of all those that came forward at the start of this and make sure we provide a law that is good law. Today.
Seems like a sensible young lady. So, I mean, it's collapsing, the whole SNP. Oh, there's the fact he's not been found not guilty. Indecent assault, sexual assault, indecent assault, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. So they're all, everybody seems to have left. 2 MPs. Oh, that's a cracker there. There's wee nippy there. They've one of my baby gorillas. Oh, that's quite funny as well. See how that was. Better. Oh, broken promises. Oh my goodness. It's just, it's unbelievable what's happening. Margaret Ferrier might become the 3rd MP to leave and join the Alba party. So that means they've got more MPs than the Greens have, I think, by now, the SNP or the Alba party. It's just unbelievable. I think there's another 10 MPs that are going to leave and join the Alba party. It's absolutely huge. Glasgow councillor quits to join Alba party as defections continue. Oh, it's massive. Why are these guys loitering about outside the school? Who's this character here? Why are the price of cowardice? None of the trade unions said anything about these guys. Just let them harass teachers, talking about beheading people as well. Oh, come on. So there's Alba Party against 2 Aberdeenshire councillors. There's another one, Tommy Sheridan has now joined the Alba Party as well. But Bannockburn councillor makes move to new Alba Party. Oh, incredible. There's another guy, MP Neil Hanvey defects from SNP to the new Alba Party. Neil Hanvey has become the 2nd MP to defect from the Scottish National Party and join Alex Salmond's new pro-independence party. On Saturday, former Justice Secretary Kenny McCaskill said he would stand as a candidate for the Alba Party. Mr. Hanvey. Oh, that's incredible. So that's 3 MPs they might have if she goes as well. And that's it just starting. There could be more and more. Joanna Cherry might go as well. So that would be Joanna Cherry jumping ship as well into the new Alba Party. It looks like the SNP could collapse. There's another guy, former SNP Caravan, becomes the latest defect. This is in the Inverness Courier, so this is from all over Scotland. Published in the 30th of March 2021. Former SNP George Caravan has become the latest high-profile figure to defect to the Alex Salmond's new party. Caravan has left the party and other members of the group modelled on the think tank Commonweal. Oh, it's just massive. What is my baby gorilla saying? No platform for wokies. Yeah, that's right. SNP 1, Alba Party 2. Well, I wouldn't be voting for the SNP, to be honest with you. Some guy, especially voting for Count Dankula if I was in Wishart or Motherwell, that would definitely get me out. Some guy in a bonnet. Yeah, some guy in a bonnet. Some guy in a bonnet. I've joined the Alba Party. I don't know what its significance. Mr. Canavan left the parley with other members of a group modelled on the think tank Commonweal. No platform from the wokies. What are you guys saying? No platform from the wokies. So SNP Beta 1, the Alba Beta 2. SNP feel the race through theories now. Yeah, it's disgusting what the SNP are doing. Bernadette, are you having a laugh there? We'd rather vote for Skynet. SNP, unbelievable. Alba equality, beta. Alba equals beta. Yes, we need the witchcraft laws back. Alba anti-British antagonist. That's anti liability British anti-liability British antagonist. No, you don't need any more laws. No, we don't. This is what Count Dankula's doing. He's going to be ripping up the laws. Let's go back to Mr. Dankula. Are we finished with Mr. Dankula? So that's fascinating. That absolutely stunning. Everything's happening in Scottish politics. Everybody's upset with Nicola Sturgeon. It's just absolutely huge. So Mr. Canavan, the former East Lothian MP, joined Kenny McCaskill. So it's really a whole bunch of solid lefties. So if you think about it, it's almost like the Marxists versus the intersectional types. So they're having a head on with the SJWs, the Frankfurt School types versus the old school socialists and Marxists. Now we know that Georgie Porgy Galloway is a Marxist. He's simping for he simps for the CCP. I'm not sure. I don't know if Tommy Sheridan's a Marxist. I would be quite interested to find out where he is in if he's just a sort of old-fashioned Glaswegian socialist. I'm not sure there's a difference between that. Marx is obviously a subset of socialism. It's interesting to see Mr. Caravan as well. So what else have we got? Unions, there you go. See, this is the disgusting thing. Unions silenced over Beatley is shameful. Not only that, they've also been trying to pass around the teacher's details, who was praised by his Muslim neighbour for giving them sweets and Eid Mubarak stuff. And now they're actually being threatened with beheadings like happened, and they're passing around his name in Islamic circles to potentially behead him for showing a cartoon that was in the curriculum as well. It was in the curriculum.
100 victims of abuse. I don't know how many perpetrators were of Asian descent. What I do know is the model across the country, 95% of abusers of children are single white men.
So blame Whitey. That's it, isn't it? For the Labour Party, just you can say anything about white people. So it's just blame Whitey, not taking any sort of consideration into what the petition that was put forward by Jonathan Wong out of the Lotus Eaters was to do with. Just blame Whitey from the Labour Party.
So I think absolutely in Rotherham we have very clear examples that it was Pakistani men, but it was others as well. And I think to focus too much on one particular type of abuser means that the other ones get off scot-free. Of the 1,400 victims of abuse, I don't know how many perpetrators were of Asian descent.
I don't know, don't care, and won't be finding out.
I do know is the model across the country, 95% of abusers of children are single white men. So
blame the white men. That's nice, isn't it?
So I think absolutely in Rotherham we have very clear examples that it was Pakistani men, but it was others as well. And I think to focus too much on one particular type of abuser means that the other ones get off scot-free.
Yeah. I'll just leave that there. What's Mr. Singh saying? In fact, the SNP have alienated so many members and the public with implementations of policy that don't want that people want reversed. People were not going to vote for them with the dangle carrot of independence before every election. Then came the Alba Party. Alex Salmond asked everyone to vote SNP 1 and Alba 2. This act alone brought votes back over to the SNP, and now they're polling to win the constituency vote in a huge majority. Before you go hating on Alex Salmond, understand he has put independence first, and that's from Mani Singh, who went to jail for putting forward a march for Scottish independence. He went to jail by the SNP, who were the councillors, the majority of the councillors in Glasgow at the time. So it seems that women are just blaming white men for everything. That's obviously the new thing. The new thing. So that female Labour councillor was blaming white people for 1,400 children being raped by Muslims in Rotherham, and she was trying to blame it on white people. Just shows you what the Labour Party are full of. That's probably why they're down to 15% now in the polls. It may, and obviously Sarwar's very racist speech in the Scottish Parliament, and obviously bringing in the hate speech bill that is only going to affect white people and can give up to 7 years in jail for people who, if they complain about you, you can go to jail for 7 years. It may be acceptable in Pakistan, but not in the UK. Pakistani Sunni Muslim hacks a Shia scholar to death over allegations of blasphemy. International citizens will be able to vote in the Scottish Parliament election for the first time next month. So anybody that just comes here will now be able to influence the Scottish elections. I don't think that's a good idea either. So the Tories are wanting to reform the hate speech bill. And I think the Scottish Libertarian Party will do it. So they put SSNP and Alba Party, two cheeks of the same arse, which is very much true. Very much true in a policy point of view. There's Tim Poole, nice guy Tim Poole, and for some reason African Americans are battering Asian people, and it's very disturbing. Not all African people, African Americans are doing it, but certainly some. Look, she just walked mind her own business, kicked in the stomach, kicked to the ground, then she just stood on. This is going out throughout America. I don't know why they're doing it. The guy just shut the door on her. Terrible behaviour. So, a schoolboy lashes his school for making the boys stand in front of the girls during assembly and apologise for rapes committed by their gender. And this is in Australia, so again, blame whitey. Or blame men this time, it's not blame whitey, although the guy is white. But don't blame the Muslims who created 1,400 rapes in Rotherham. Blame the men, blame white people, blame anybody other than take responsibility. What are you guys saying? No platform for the wokies. Oh, didn't even see that guy down there. Oh my goodness, you're all in there. There's Hank as well. Hi Hank, hi Davey, how you doing, buddy? BLM, the clan with a tan, that's it. Well, obviously they're both on the left as well. The clan were Democrats and BLM are Marxists. Remember the Holy Order, John? I think women have a good run of it in politics. Yeah, well, they can blame anybody else. I mean, I couldn't start going to politics and start blaming women and still continue to be elected. I don't know why. It's obviously one rule for one for another. I can't wait till July. What's happening in July, John? May? Single white men divide votes. July is White History Month. July is White History Month. Racism only goes one way in this country. Yeah, that's right. You know, it's not. I don't believe in race and don't believe in racism. I don't think other people who don't look like me are racist. But you've got to understand that people who are racist promote racist ideas. They promote it so that people. I mean, pathetically, if somebody's tanned or not tanned, then you've got to treat them a different way. And it's them that's promoting the racism in the country. And then they call anybody else that calls out their racism racist. So you've got to understand where the racism is actually coming from. Like Hamza Yusuf and Anasawa, that's the real racists. Vote Borg. Vote for the Borg. Alba, Turkey voting for Christmas. Keeps cutting out. Does it keep cutting out? Does it? Let me just check. See what you guys are listening to. By tomorrow, hopefully, we've got the new. Maybe this mic. So hopefully by tomorrow, it can be the cables and all that. So if it's, it might be the actual mic that's cutting out. Voting for Christmas. Keeps cutting out. Does it keep cutting out? Does it? It's quite good on this. A party, I don't know what its significance. Mr. Canavan left the parley with other members of a group modelled on the think tank called Real.
The British system of government.
With the punishment. So don't worry, guys. I actually was going to table this for tomorrow because we're getting a new mic. So the mic is top notch because to prevent any sound issues. The mic that we're bringing in is absolutely top notch tomorrow. So that should cut out any sort of fluctuations. This is a relatively cheap one, and that should actually cut out any fluctuations in it. If it doesn't do that, there must be something wrong with the Rodecaster Pro, because everything's new leads, I bought a cloud lifter, and everything else seems to be working in the Rodecaster Pro. So, I don't understand why it's cutting out. It must be the mic. So the mic's coming. Don't worry, guys. Anything for you, my baby gorillas. It'll be great once you get a consistency of sound. I'll be very excited about that. A video on his YouTube. So apologies if it's cutting in and out. You should only have one more day to actually suffer for this. Obama mic, Obama phone. It's true. BLM, burn, loot and murder. Totally agree, Davey. July is White History Month. Well, have White History Month. It's just history. So you're racialising history. So all history should be taught. Why would you have dependent on history on the Magnolia account? If you've got African history, teach African history, or teach people who were of African descent who lived here what the previous history is. But there's not a lot of it. This has been deliberately done because obviously we've got mass immigration to displace us. This is why we're getting this and gerrymandered. But I think there was only like 70 black people or African people. I don't like using the word black. African people here. Oh yeah. No. How'd you get that? Oh, you can see it like that as well. Pop out chat. I wish you could get the chat on top of it so it doesn't just sit. Every time I move the page, it moves. I don't know if I can make it. I wish you could sit it on top. That's better as well. I didn't know you could do that. I was struggling to read some of that. That's great. So, where are we? Probably do it slightly small. And that's about right size. So, I mean, it's obviously they're pushing the agenda, end rape culture. I don't know, but they're not talking, they're obviously defending the rape culture of Muslims, but blame whitey. That's obviously end the rape culture. And that would obviously affect relationships between men and women here by blaming white people, but not actually taking responsibility of ethnic minorities that might be raping people. quite incredible. There's Nottingham men jailed for abusing vulnerable children. Nottingham men jailed for abusing vulnerable teenage girls. Two gentlemen. Waza Atta and Mohammed Ahmed were jailed at Nottingham Crown Court. Two men jailed for grooming and sexually abusing 3 vulnerable children. Mohammed Sadid Ahmed, 22, has admitted 3 charges, and Wakaz Akhtar, 26, convicted at trial. Nottingham Police Crown Court heard between February 2017 and January 2019 the men messaged girls who were aged 13 and 15 on social media apps and forced them into sexual activities. One victim, she felt betrayed by Ahmed and he had destroyed her life. Mohammed Sadiq Ahmed, 22, of Vile Crescent, South Nottingham, previously admitted engaging in sexual communications with a child, causing or inciting a girl under 16 to engage in sexual activity with a girl under 16. He was jailed for 3 years and given a restraining order against girls. Waza Act Team 26, Glensworth Road, Nottingham, was found guilty of sexual activity with a girl under 16, penetrative sexual activity with a girl under 16, 2 counts of engagement in sexual communications with a child and meetings a girl 16 of age following grooming. He was jailed for 7 years and 6 months. So interesting. Oh, there's the guy. Here's the guy here, Robert the Bruce. Not seen, this is actually the film Robert the Bruce, who yours truly was in. Anyone taking odds that Robert the Bruce is going to join the Alba party? Angus McFadden. This is from McFadden's Twitter. I've never joined any political party, but the cynical manipulation at the SNP in the unconstitutional power grab, which has moved the goalposts so far away from the goal of independence, has signed me up as a long-time dreamer to the only coach who could beat the evil devil. Hashtag Alex Salmond. So Angus McFadden is thinking about joining them up. Interesting. And nice guy here as well, Mr. Grimes.
Kieran, for the life of his own child, probably be cancelled for this video, but here we go anyway. I want to talk about the teacher that prompted protests after showing a cartoon of Mohammed that fears that he and his family will be murdered. His dad has told the Daily.
Well, that's good. That's multiculturalism for you. If you show a picture of a cartoon, then it's definitely due grounds for getting murdered, and then you're not going to get any backup from your teachers union, the police, the headmaster, or the teachers union, or even the government. What's Boris sitting doing? Obviously Boris's ancestors were in the Young Turks, who murdered millions of or hundreds of thousands, 1.5 million Armenians when the Muslim Young Turks came to power. And I think Boris's dad or grandfather was in the Young Turks.
Mail. The religious studies teacher remains in hiding after receiving
a pandemic that's really so serious that we've got to lock ourselves in our own houses. The Boris is letting people coming over from the war-torn country of France, and avalanche of people, because obviously they've signed us up to the Barcelona process, the UN Compact in Marrakesh, and the UN Compact in Marrakesh and the Union of the Mediterranean. They've already signed us up to that. So we've basically de facto open immigration policy, open door immigration policy in the middle of a pandemic when people are just able to walk into the country and given the right to vote, that their citizens having just walked into the country.
Death threats, and he's told his family it's all over and he'll never be able to return to his job or his home. The family have accused...
Our political class have allowed a teacher to be bullied out of his job by physical threats of decapitation, and our weak-assed Conservative Party, who should all be sacked, every one of them, especially the Labour Party, they could all go and nobody would miss them, have done and said nothing. What a weak bunch of spineless gits they are.
The school, Batley Grammar, have thrown him under the bus by issuing a grovelling apology to a mob outside, refusing to actually fight his corner or fight for their own teacher, as he hides from this said mob that had seen the school temporarily shut its own doors and not educate its kids. Now, this is a man who lives a life of fear now and mental torment.
So by letting in Muslims, they're now able to use death threats against us to actually say they're going to kill us, and our political class want more Muslims in charge, and they are not prepared to take any response to this. So they're basically traitors.
No doubt, according to his dad, that, fearing for the life of his own child. And I wonder, folks, imagine having this fear, right? Imagine fearing that you'll suffer the same fate as someone like Samuel Paty, the teacher beheaded by barbaric Islamists in Paris last year for showing his pupils a cartoon during a lesson on the importance of freedom of expression. An important principle, folks, that we once in this country respected and cherished. We're throwing that out in the name of being politically correct. We have thrown out the freedom of expression baby with the politically correct bathwater. So where's the outrage, I want to know, folks, from the teaching unions that have waxed lyrical, let's not forget, over recent months about the need to keep their teachers safe from a virus that on average only kills people who are about 80 years old, which is what the life expectancy of those in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland actually can expect to live to.
What the Scottish Libertarian Party should say is, we're going back to work. That's it, we're going back to work. We're not going to stay in the houses any longer. We're not going to support these antivirus measures. We're going back to work. And that's what they should announce, Tam Laird should announce just now.
So where's the outrage from these unions that this teacher is risking his own life by showing this cartoon? Where's the sort of care and concern to keep this
we need to be armed now. We need to. There is going to be a probability that we will need to be armed to protect ourselves against Islamists now in this country. They can just kill us at any time. So there's going to have to be rights of defence, and we've already seen it's already a thing to be decapitated. So there's numerous people who've been murdered in France by Islamists on the support of the globalists, such as Macron. Although Macron's talking a better game than most of them, so Boris Johnson's not speaking out about this. So the rape and murder of people is not being talked about in the UK by Muslims. So. And by the political class, they're just allowing it to happen. In fact, they want more Muslims in Parliament.
Teacher say from a mob that wants to see harm inflicted to him for showing a sodden cartoon in his class. The only thing that's cartoon, I think, is the so-called liberal commentariat that turn a blind eye to events like this one for fear of saying something that wasn't politically correct, something that could see them effectively cancelled from their nice jobs that keep them in their Islantonian lifestyles. It's absolutely pathetic, I think, to assume that this teacher shouldn't have stirred up controversy by showing this cartoon. Over 40 years on from Monty Python's Life of Brian causing controversy for being possibly the most blasphemous film ever, I don't think you'd find a single member of the chattering classes who would think that any of the cast of Monty Python should face death threats or lose their jobs for ridiculing the life, let's not forget, the life.
Don't take too much is there, but yeah, lovely, nice young fella that as well. He's gone through the ringer as well. So, prominent Edinburgh businessman switches alliance from the SNP to the Alba Party. So Mr. Arish Ahmed, Edinburgh businessman who's been a member of the SNP for over 16 years, has left the party and joined the Alba Party. Everybody's leaving. I think it's just going to be Nicola Sturgeon. Next conference is just going to be Nicola Sturgeon by herself. Everybody's leaving. That's a nice guy.
With benefits, tax credits, this, that, the other. No, they wouldn't. So just a little bit of respect when people talk about this country, this great country. That's why it's Great Britain. If it weren't that great, we wouldn't all flock over here, would we? To the English people out there who've been abusing me, saying I'm not English, I don't know. I was born here, I was raised here, I like the football, I like the cricket. I don't know what else you want me to do. What do you want me to do? Backflips? I love my country, and anybody else who's got an issue with this country, when you come to this country, you work in the country, you obey the country, you respect the rules. If you don't like the country, and if you don't respect the country, and you don't like our Queen, and you don't like the Union Jack, you know what the answer is. Bleep, 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 off out of it. Again.
Seems like a nice fella. Sturgeon is forced to fault her own judgment. Ah, come on. Get off. Checked off. Sturgeon is forced, this is by Alex Macy in the Times. Sturgeon is forced to fault her own judgment. First Minister called Salmond a gambler and a fantasist, but she backed him for 20 years. Oh dear. Oh dear. And this was March 29th, 2021. Nicola Sturgeon does not wish to spend this election talking about Alex Salmond, but she can't escape his overbearing presence either. Speaking to the SNP virtual conference, she made but a single fleeting reference to her predecessor. Having to do so, she moved on, presumably on the basis that it's not one mentions the bearer outside the window the bear may display. This is no time for putting self-interest before the national interest. Sturgeon said, though this is self-serving, even self-interested, appraisal of this election new circumstances where one approves one or not. Salmond's analysis of the electoral arithmetic is sound, except in the South. Many SNP list votes do not like little to many SNP list votes do little to elect SNP MSPs. So they're still getting, in the Highlands in the south of Scotland, there's still SNP on the list votes, can still, the regional vote can make a difference. But if the SNP do overwhelmingly well in the constituency vote, and the regional vote, it would be better for their voters, if they're supporting independence, to go to and vote for the Alba party in the regional list vote. Although vote for Count Dankula in the Motherwell and Wishaw by-election, he is absolutely fantastic. So, what else we got? Norman Tebbit. Councillors, another councillor defecting. This young lady here is a councillor defecting to the Alba party. Oh, and Liz Evans might have to resign again. She's, I think Alex Salmond's taking legal action against her as well. See what Georgie Porgy said?
Eat each other. And there are early signs that might well happen. Nicola Sturgeon's memory about Alex Salmond has suddenly flooded back. Just a week ago, in front of the parliamentary inquiry, she knew nothing, Gov. Never heard of any question mark against her former mentor, her predecessor, Alex Salmond. Now that she is under mortal electoral threat from him, she remembers everything. He's been a problem waiting to happen all along. A man not to be trusted with the ladies. In fact, as one wag put it, ALBA might well be an acronym for All Ladies Beware.
That's quite funny as well. Something I was wanting to show you guys. There's another guy. This is some sort of vendetta against Muslim guys in Saudi black guys in Saudi. Sorry, I said black African guys in Saudi. I don't know what that was all in need of either. Muslim leaders in the UK have got the opportunity right now to oppose the threat of violence by Muslims in Baitley. But if the teacher gets killed, I guarantee you the same leaders will say nothing to do with Islam.
Fuck you. Fuck you, CNN. Fuck you. Fuck you,
Oh, here, this is what I was looking for.
Head of the Faculty of Advocates, head of the Law Society, white. Head of the Faculty of Advocates, white. Every director of a department in Scotland, white. Not just justice. Every principal of a college or university in Scotland, the chief nursing officer, white. Every head teacher in Scotland, chief veterinary officer, white. Every chair of a public sector body in Scotland, almost every High Court judge in Scotland, headed white by people. Every prison governor in Scotland, Scottish government, every editor of a news organisation, every chair of every head of the Law Society, white. Every council, head of the Faculty of Advocates, white. Every director of a department in Scotland, white. Not just justice. Every principal of a college or university in Scotland, the chief nursing officer, white. Every head teacher in Scotland, chief veterinary officer, white. Every chair of a public sector body in Scotland, almost every High Court judge in Scotland, headed white by people. Every prison governor in Scotland, Scottish government, every editor of a news organisation, every chair of every head of the Law Society, white. Every council, head of the Faculty of Advocates, white. Every director of a department in Scotland, white. Not just justice. Every principal of a college or university in Scotland, the chief nursing officer, white. Every head teacher in Scotland, chief veterinary officer, white. Every chair of a public sector body in Scotland, almost every High Court judge in Scotland, headed white by people. Every prison governor in Scotland, Scottish government, every editor of a news organisation.
So what's this guy saying? This is the roadmap for Scotland. I'm very near to making the decision to leave my daughter's country of birth to the safety of south of England. I wouldn't say that was going to be much safer. I lived there for 14 years and did not once did I come across this kind of hatred. Yeah, we know where these racists, these two are a couple of racists. I'm gobsmacked that anybody in Scotland's voted for them. This is John Stewart. The trouble with Scotland is full of Scots. Obviously that was to do with the phrase from Edward Longshanks. So, and the SNP, the Labour Party seem to be, they're this has got 1.1 thousand likes. Get Humza out. A reminder, if we get Humza out of Glasgow Pollock, then he's out of Holyrood because he is not standing on the regional list. Let's do this. So people of Pollock, there was only 40%, 45% people came out and voted. So if the rest of Pollock come out and vote, then you could actually get Humza useless out. So you have to go and sign up and get and vote. I mean, it's not very difficult putting an X in a box. I mean, to allow that sort of, and there's the great man himself, Ricky Gervais, complaining. This is in Breitbart. F blasphemy, Ricky Gervais blasts protests over teachers showing Muhammad. While our government does nothing. Ricky Gervais has joined the chorus of condemnation against suspensions of British teacher for showing a caricature of the Islamic prophet. And he's not a prophet, well, it's not a prophet. Islamic Muhammad, questioning whether people will be punished for insulting unicorns next, which is completely correct about. Some of those fans look absolutely stunning. So, what you guys saying? Longshanks was a Chad. Longshanks was my favourite in Braveheart. Remind me, my ears are full of shortbread. Well done. Poland, you know, that's I say about that, about the football, yeah. Poland have refused to take the knee tonight in the game with England. Honestly, the Poles just go from strength to strength in my book. What a great bunch. My favourite socialist. So, I mean, obviously we know Hamza Yusuf and Anis Sarwar are just a couple of racists. So I think, let me just see if I get this. I'm dying. In fact, let's just play it again. Just so
every council, head of the faculty of advocates, white. Every director,
anti-white racism is acceptable. New form of acceptable racism.
Chief college or university,
and to be discriminated against.
Every head teacher in Scotland, chief veterinary officer, white. Every chair of a public advisor body in Scotland, almost every High Court judge in Scotland, headed white by people. Every president governor in Scotland, Scottish government, every editor of a news organisation, every chair of every.
So, but obviously, this is what happens if you if it doesn't become too white. So we've also got Paul Hutchins, wee gimpy boy, in the Daily Rubbish again. So this is today, far right bigot. So it's bigot, racist, Nazi. They just make up words. Anything they can say to actually be demeaning. That is what the words they make up. Now I've never met Jada Francis, and I've only met Tommy Robinson twice at the Count Dankula trial, and once down in London. Only brief conversations with them. I don't know Jada Francis, and I only met Markus, I think, once or twice. Twice, in fact. So I don't really know them. It's not like there's a whole bunch of people sitting around actually getting together and speaking to each other. But we all understand, because we've actually read the Quran and the Hadith, and we actually understand what Islam says. Far right bigot, far right. So I don't know where Jada Francis is in the political compass, but I don't just throw about far right. And we already know that National Socialism is a left-wing ideology. So if she's trying to say that she's a Nazi, it's then, or a fascist, she's on the authoritarian left. Far right far right bigot who targeted Hamza Yusuf launches doomed bid to become MP. So this was the 23rd of January 2021. Jada Francis, deputy leader of far-right British Freedom Party, will campaign to win Nicola Sturgeon's constituency seat. Wow. A convicted racist. I don't know how you get convicted on a race when it's the human race. So I don't know how you do that. And you targeted a Muslim. Well, obviously Islam's not a race, so that doesn't make any sense. Even a race in comparative to lefty logic, it still doesn't make any sense. Or is it just everything that they want is racist that they don't agree with? Has announced a doomed attempt to stand the Scottish election. Jada Francis, deputy leader of far-right Britain Freedom Party, said she will campaign to win Nicola Sturgeon's government seat. In a bizarre announcement, she said, "I'm going to stand in the Scottish elections in May against these SNP commie Marxists, naughty people." Well, she's not wrong in that. I would say postmodernist Marxists, to be precise. She will be hoping to attract more votes than the 56 she received in Rotherham and Stroud by-election, when she was outpolled by the monster raving Looney Party. In desperation, she's offering donors a cheap signed calendar for her if they spend £20 to her political campaign. Last month, the bigot and 4 others held the British Freedom Party banner outside the close Glasgow Pollock constituency of Justice Secretary Hamza Yusuf. The banner included "All Lives Matter," which is correct phrase. In fact, I have to say that George Floyd's brother made a very empowering speech, a powerful speech, where he said some very noble things, and he said that all lives matter as well. So George Floyd's brother basically was condemning the violence from Antifa and Black Lives Matter, the communists. the narco-communists and the actual Marxists. Phrase adopted by those opposed to Black Lives Matter movement. Frances has travelled to Scotland from her home in Northern Ireland to see a fascist who joined her in a banner protest, John Feeney. Glaswegian Feeney is becoming an organiser of the British Freedom Party. Feeney, 60, was a BNP candidate for Glasgow East. I don't really know anything about any of these parties. I was never involved in any of these parties. All the parties I've been involved in have been mainstream, so I've never met any of these characters either. BNP candidate for Glasgow East in 2010 general election, but his presence brought chaos to the election declaration. The other discussed. I don't know if the BNP are fascists, or I don't know if the BNP are National Socialists, or the BNP are actually on the far right. I don't know their ideology, so I don't know where they are. But they keep saying far right, but surely it's the far left that have killed 100 million people, and not including the National Socialists who killed millions more. So surely it's the far left that are the major issue. Whether it be National Socialism, National Bolshevism, Communism, all of these seem to have killed millions and millions of people. Other discussed candidates, including others discussed candidate, including Margaret Curry of Labour, refused to make speeches while he remained on the platform. So Feeney votes announced was drowned out by boos and scum Nazis out. Now I don't know if they are Nazis or not. I'm not saying they're not, but I just don't know what their ideology is. I know that they seem racist, but I don't want to say that because I don't know, because I've never met anybody in the BNP. I've never actually had a conversation with anybody who is a card-carrying member of the British National Party, or for that matter, Britain First. I don't know if JDA has separated from Britain First, and this is the New Freedom Party, whatever. Feeney is obsessed by Mussolini and recently called him a great man. So he could be a fascist. So he could be a fascist rather than a National Socialist. He posted on social media a video of a fascist dictator declaring war on Britain. He also posted a fascist video, dictator declaring war. He also posted a violent speech from the late neo-Nazi, I don't know if neo-Nazi South African Eugene Terreblanche, inciting violence, the anti-apartheid movement. In a video, Francis Feeney declared he too would stand in the Scottish elections despite deriding the Holyrood as a toy town parliament with tartan tranny politicians. Feeney then referenced to immigrants as barbarians who came here from mud huts and deserts. Francine, the former deputy leader of the alt-right Britain First organisation, formed the British Freedom Party in April, but it failed to gain momentum. The 34-year-old claims that she is a Christian fundamentalist and extreme in her sense of the word. She said Islam and the Quran should be banned in the UK, in Britain, and anti-monarchists should be hung for treason. My goodness, that's about, my goodness. And the Britain First Christian patrols in Luton in November 2016, Francine was convicted of religious aggravated harassment in order to pay a fine of £1,000 after she targeted a Muslim mother of 4 who was wearing a hijab. In 2018, Francis was sentenced to 36 weeks in prison after being found guilty at Folkestone Magistrates Court of 3 counts of religiously aggravated harassment. She made world headlines in 2017 when then US Donald Trump shared a number of Islamophobic, there's no such word as Islamophobic, people, they're threatening to cut people's heads off for showing cartoons. What sort of phobia is that? Posts don't even, he later distanced himself from the tweets, was banned from Twitter and Facebook for breaching policies prohibiting organisations that use or promotes violence against civilians to further their cause. Francine has backing of extremist Jim Dawson of Airdrie, who has links to loyalist paramilitaries and is an anti-abortionist militant. Dowson, the former second in command of the BNP, said Franson had been chosen by God to lead the Patriots.
Well, so it's fun and games. I don't know if far-right bigot targeted is
about to become MSP. So
I don't know if they've got the party registered.
And I'm not quite sure if she's
going to stand. So that would make it certainly interesting if she's going to stand there. Who knows? Well, guys, I just thought we'd do that. I was more interested in what was happening with Markus. And I just wanted to say congratulations to Markus for doing that. He's a libertarian liberal, and he's a good guy. And give him all your love and support. And congratulate him on standing. Love it, baby gorillas.